Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome again. I decided that I've had so many requests and everything, they wanted me to make the rolls. So it's a great morning for me to do that. I'm going to get started on them early and give them time to rise, because I got to rise twice. And so that way I can make up some of those rolls this evening, and I'll show y'all how they end up turning out. But first I want to show you how to make them. And this is that recipe that I was showing y'all earlier on one of my videos, or I think it was just a post I put out. But anyway, and this is that recipe from Miss Brenda Gann, from watching her videos and stuff. And she is amazing, y'all. I just love her. I'm going to buy her cookbook. I want her cookbook. And I'm going to find out what her plug is on that, and I'll if I can, if it's okay for me to do that, then I will. I'll put her thing on there so y'all can order her cookbook. It's got a lot of old time recipes in it, and apparently lots of good stories and everything else in it. But anyway, this is Miss Brenda Gann's recipe, with me doing a couple little tweaks here and there and stuff. Just, you know, like she said, she don't never go by just exactly a recipe. She gonna do something. There's just something different you want to do, you know, and that's what's fun about it. You do it a little bit, everything your own way sometimes. But anyway, this is her recipe. It's her mama's recipe, I think is what she said. But anyhow, here we're gonna go. So what I did was I went ahead and I got all my ingredients. I got them all. I'm gonna see if I can turn this a second. See, I got them all in my bowls here, lined, measured out, and ready. So hopefully that'll save me some time. So let me see if I can get it here on my mixing bowl and stuff. But even before I do my mixing bowl, over here on my stove, I got my little pot. So what I got to do is I'm going to mix my, I have here a cup of buttermilk. And I got a big half cup of sugar. It's a half cup, but you know I do more is better, right? So it's a big half cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of shortening. I got a big teaspoon of salt, and 2 beaten eggs, 2 packets of yeast, ready for me to add my water to. And she uses 6 cups of flour in her, it's all-purpose flour. She uses 6 cups in her recipe. I'm going to try it with 5 cups today, and we'll see what it does. It could totally mess it up, but I'm hoping it'll make them not quite as heavy as I want them and stuff, because those rolls are delicious just like they are. So I'm going to do it just like this. We'll give it a try. If it don't work, then it don't work. But like I said, don't be afraid. So anyway, you start off with it. I'm going to mix my milk, my oil, my salt, my sugar in this little pot over here, and I'm going to heat it up just until that shortening melts down. Just until it just melts. That's all you want to do. You don't want it sitting there cooking or nothing like that, but just stir it a little bit and get it melting. So I'm going to put that all in here. Let me get my pot. I'll just bring it over here. Alright, I'm going to put my my milk. Good old buttermilk. Man, I'm terrible. I could just drink it all the time. I love it. I know it sounds crazy, but I love it. Anyway, all right, here's my shortening. Let me get a spoon. Here is my, that was my cup of buttermilk. And now my, what was it, 3/4 cup of shortening. I got that all measured out. I'm going to put that in here. And now my salt, my big teaspoon of salt. And my big half cup of sugar. There it is. I'm gonna get that in here over here and get it sitting on the fire burning, and get that melted down real quick. Oops. I'll just lay that right there. Let me put this in here. It won't take it long. Stir that a little bit. It's just enough to get it melted. Remember that. You're not trying to cook this or nothing. because when this melts, when this gets melted down like that, we're going to set it off to the side and have to let it cool off just a little bit to what we call lukewarm. And I guess to me that's where you touch it with your finger and it just don't feel hot to you or whatever. But so we're going to get that going like that. I had to write this down so I could explain it to you better. Let me put my little bowls here up. Try to stay a little bit organized. I'll set them over here. Okay, so we've got that warming up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of warm water. I'm going to get that straight out of the tap. Just some hot tap water is what I'm going to call it. And this here is the funny secret to hers. I really don't know their purpose, but I definitely made sure I got me some and did it the last time. So it's potato flakes, instant potato flakes. Not those little knobby ones. I don't guess because I made sure I got the flakes. That's what she said was flakes. So it's a 1/3 cup of your flakes and 3/4 of a cup of warm tap water. Let me check my shortening over here. Yep, see it's already almost. I'm going to just turn it off right now. If I stir that, I can get it melted in here. I'm going to be sure to go ahead and get my 3/4 cup of hot tap water now. Let that run a second. I'm going to get me a whisk and try to do this up a little bit better. And I'll show it to you. See that? See, so I'm just, that's your buttermilk, your sugar, your shortening, and your salt. And so now we are fixing to add to this that 1/3 cup of potato flakes and the 3/4 cup of warm water. That's what we're fixing to stir in here. Okay, my water's hot. Get this measured out and I'll be right back over there. Alright, I'm going to put my 3/4 cup of warm tap water in there, hot tap water, and my 1/3 cup of potato flakes. So now, I'm going to just whisk that in there. She said get you a whisk and get it all whisked together really good. Can you see that? I smell that buttermilk. I'm going to have to start stocking up in buttermilk a little more. It's hard for me to find it in the gallons. I can get it in the half-gallon jugs, but I need to start buying gallon jugs of it. I don't know if that's because I drink some of it when I should just be using it for my baking. I don't know. I like drinking it. That's part of what I'm doing here is trying to bring the past back into the modern day kitchen. I think that's going to be my motto about this thing. But anyway, I got this here stirred up together now. Let me feel of it. Yeah, that's pretty warm. Better let that set a second. So what we're going to do after that cools down a little bit, let's see. Alright, we've got our water and our potato flakes in there. Got that whisk and set aside. So now we're going to get 1/4 of a cup of that hot tap water, and we're fixing to mix it in with this yeast. And I'm going to set it to the side, but we're going to whisk it in real good and kind of let it sit there. You hear my bird clock? You remember them old-timey bird clocks that has the birds all the way around it and everything? One of my special friends got me that for Christmas, and I think that was one of my favorite Christmas presents, was one of them old bird clocks like that. I love that thing. You go in all your old aunties' houses or your grannies or something. Every one of them had one of them clocks at one time, I think. So anyway, I got that for Christmas, and it sure was fun. I've enjoyed it. Me and Buzz both like it. We like that thing, and it goes off on the hour, I mean, like clockwork. It's great. Anyway, I'm fixing to get my 1/4 cup hot water going here. Let me get that. If I can find my one I'm wanting here. There it is, 1/4 cup. Alright. Get it over here. I'm having to use my dry measure because all the lettering on my glass measure is wore off. So I'm going to have to get me another measuring cup. But anyway, I'm going to pour this 1/4 cup in here with this yeast. Let me see if I got my little whisk. No, I think it's washing. I'll just get me a... Oh, there it is. Okay. We're just going to take this. I love the smell of yeast. See how I'm doing it? I'm just, excuse me, getting it stirred up in there. And make sure it's all stirred up and everything. We're going to let it sit there and kind of activate a little bit. Give it a minute to activate some. We're just going to set it to the side. Okay, I'm going to do that. Let me grab this. Excuse me, I didn't mean to step away that long. All right. What I have done too is my mixing bowl that I used on my thing, I've got it over here sitting in the sink with hot water in it because that old metal, you know, is cold and stuff, and I want everything to kind of be warm to, you know, like when I put this warm yeast in there and my warm buttermilk mixture and everything and stuff, you know, it makes everything start activating. It's like my eggs. I got them out early so they kind of get room temperature, you know. That way nothing's cold. So I got warm water in my mixing bowl, and I'm fixing to dump that out and dry it off and get it over here and get it ready for the mixing up. So now it's good and warm. It's not all cold, like, especially how metal can be. Metal and glass and stuff like that. I'll be sure and dry it all out. I want to make nothing be what it's not supposed to be. I got my dough hook on here. And we're ready to go with that. See, look how kind of thick it is now with that potato flake stirred in there. Go ahead, pour this in here. Alright. Let me set that over there. Let me feel over it a minute. It's a little bit warm. Warmer than I want it to be. I might should have, for saving time, again, I guess I'll learn all this part, but I might should have already had that done, but I wanted to show y'all what I mixed in there, you know, and everything, just in case anybody had any questions about that part. But, you turn this on, kind of be stirring it around. That's not going to hurt nothing. Maybe that'll stir it around and let it cool down some. But y'all, these are so good. I'm going to try to figure out how to do this thing for you where I can do the video and stuff correctly and all. And I think I'm getting a little bit better at maneuvering that stuff. But anyway, we're going to get this done. I'm going to get this flour put in here in just a second. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want to read this so I can read it to tell you right. I want to make sure. I've got my, okay, that stuff there is, the milk stuff is setting aside. Cooling down, and so now my yeast mixture is setting aside. Now I'm fixing to mix in this bowl the milk mixture and 3 cups of my flour, because I said I was going to use 5, remember? I'm going to use 5, so I'm going to start out with my 3. I got my big bowl here, my big butter bowl, butter yellow bowl that I like. I'm going to dump this 3 cups in there, and let's see, what else am I going to put with that? Oh, I'm going to do my milk mixture, the 3 cups of flour, my beaten egg, and my yeast. And I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to start mixing that, and I'm going to mix it until it gets smooth. I'm going to go ahead and put this flour in there. 3 cups. Alright. You can't hardly do it without making a mess, or I can't. I don't know. Some people might be better than me not making a mess, but you get me a spatula. I'm gonna get this little old stiff plastic one. Okay, I'm fixing to add my eggs. That's my 2 beaten eggs. Kind of scrape it off the sides of the bowl. You always have to do that with these stand type mixers. You gotta scrape them. It ain't like using your handheld one where you can get down in there and maneuver it all around it, but these things are worth $1 million. I said it before, I love them. I love them. Okay, here goes my yeast mixture now. Try to get every bit out of there. Every little drop. If I get it in the bowl, not on the counter. Okay. Let's crank that up a minute, and I'm going to get this out of my way. We're going to mix this until it's smooth. Let me turn it off a second and scrape this bowl. I wish y'all could smell that. I know you know what it smells like, though. If you've made yeast rolls before, or attempted them, or been around somebody making them, or just smelling them baked, there just ain't no denying the smell of that good old yeast smell. I love it. I love it. I love it. Alright, let's get this until it gets smooth, because now I'm going to add these last 2 cups of flour. So that'll end up being 5 cups of flour I put in it all together. And I think what I'll do, because she says after you put your last remaining flour in there, which you do that little bits at a time too. You don't just dump the whole blob in there. I'm gonna kind of spoon it in there a little bit, add it little bits at a time while it's stirring. But once I get all that flour in there, you're gonna let that dough hook work on it for 7 minutes. That's what she said, for 7 minutes. So we're gonna do the 7-minute thing on it, just like Miss Brenda said. And then all we gotta do is take it from here and dump it out in our bowl that we've got oil in, lay a little bit of cellophane on it or whatever, and set it in the refrigerator and let it rise, double in size. And it's going to make a lot of rolls, y'all. You can do so much more with that dough as well, too. I made up a big old thing of cinnamon rolls out of them, homemade cinnamon rolls. Ooh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I may show y'all how I did that, because I'll still have plenty of this dough left. But first things first, let's get the rolls under our belt, right? Let me see this. It's looking smooth. Looks pretty smooth to me. Let me make sure I got it all out of the bottom. And wipe it right off there on that hook. A little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just for grins. Alright, I'm going to turn it down low so I won't make a mess. Let it just be stirring it in there, and then I'll crank it up. But I just want to go along here and add a little bit at a time in it. Give it time to get it all mixed in there. And then turn it on and let it start working that dough. Can't wait to taste it. Alright. Let me get this off of this little thing up here. Make sure I got all my flour down in there. There I go, making a mess again, y'all. Like I said, I'm like a bull in a china shop. I'm not good at being gentle with stuff. Heavy-handed, I think that's what it is. I think you call it heavy-handed. Alright, I'm going to turn this on, get it mixed, so it won't be slinging the flour everywhere. And then I'm going to crank it up. And since how it's going to be 7 minutes, I will turn the video off, and then I'll come back on, show you what I've done, and show you what I'm going to do about putting it in the bowl of oil and letting it rise and stuff. And then this evening I'll show y'all what we're looking at there on how to get them finished and completed. But okay, it's all mixed together really good. Let's see if I can. Let me see. Can you see it down in there? Watch this when I pick it up. Look at that. See that? See how it's coming off there like that? So we just gonna crank this booger up and let her do all the work for me. Alright. I'll be back in 7 minutes.